Hi everyone! Today I want to show you a fun card using a new stamp set called Dad Jokes. Now I haven't seen a lot of samples with the Dad Jokes stamp set, but I have to tell you, when I saw it in the New Occasions catalog, I bought it right away. This little joke right here that I'm going to feature is one that my daughter learned in between kindergarten and first grade. And you know how kids are when they learn a new joke. They tell you the same joke over and over and over and over again. So this is the joke that my daughter told over and over and over again. So this is the perfect thing for my husband to get for Father's Day, or even my dad, because she told Grandpa the same joke many times too. So they'll get a kick out of this. And it's great for other occasions too. It says dad jokes, but we all have maybe brothers, or even if you're going to send a birthday card to maybe a third, fourth, fifth, sixth grader. This is a fun set. It says, Dad, did you get a haircut? No, I got them all cut. But if you use a marker, you can just eliminate the word dad. And, you know, it works for a child's birthday as well. They're really fun. And down here it says, Happy Birthday, Dad. But just use a marker and ink up Happy Birthday, and then you don't have to worry about the word Dad. Same thing with love you or good one or thanks. But this one here is just too funny, and that's what we're going to use on my card. And it is a lift the flap. I think lift the flap is also fun for Father's Day because you know how many little kids' books have lift the flap, so it's really perfect for my daughter to give to my husband. I'm going to have her make her own because she can color these in really cute, and my daughter's pretty crafty. She's in 3rd grade and she thinks she's like a little mini demonstrator. So anyway, it's got to lift the flap. It says, I would tell you a joke about pizza, but it's a little cheesy. She would crack up hysterically. Anyway, that's the card. And it's pretty fun, and the lift the flap is pretty simple to do, and I want to show you how to do that with just your square shaped framelit dies. So I'm going to get the stamping done really quickly, and we're using the little pizza and this little thing here, and I think I'm going to do a happy birthday and leave off the dad because I already made several Father's Day versions for just because I make a lot when I make one card. I think that's good. Okay. So I'm starting with a card base of cherry cobbler, and that's just your standard card base. It's a piece of 8.5 by 11 cut in half and then scored in half. And then I have a second piece that's just 1/4 inch smaller all around, so it is 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to randomly stamp some pizzas in Island Indigo, kind of a tone on tone. Just kind of turning the pizza every so often so they're going in different directions. I like to make sure that some go off the page too. And I'm going to stamp a couple extra pizzas in black so I can use them as accents. Alright, let's finish our stamping before we put it all together. Now we just need our joke. Now the joke is all on one block, as you can see, but I don't want it all to be on one because I want to lift the flap. Now you can accomplish this a couple different ways. Some people like to use masking tape across the one that they don't want to ink up, and then they just use their ink pads. I'm going to use my basic black marker. I like to check it first on my scrap paper and make sure that I don't have any residue from previous stamping stuck on there. So I'm using my square framelit dies, and the die that I'm using is just under 3 inches. It's 2 7/8. So I have cut this little piece at 2 3/4 by 1 1/4, and we're going to use that for our joke. So I need one of them to have, oops, I only need one. I need one piece of very vanilla to have the outside, and that's the one that says, I would like to tell you. Get that inked up. I use the brush side of the marker, and as you can see, I'm using the side of the tip. You don't want to go straight on because you don't want to fray that really nice brush tip. So I'm using the side of the marker and going along my stamp. I'm going to attempt to center this. It's kind of going up a little bit. I'm going to do it one more time. There. Okay, now I'm going to clean that really well so I can do the bottom. I think I got it. Okay, now on this one I'm just going to use a scrap that I have laying around. I don't need to worry about the exact sizing because it's going to be underneath a hole. There. Okay. Oh, I wanted a pizza next to it. So let's do that. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to show you how to cut the hole with the framelit die. So I'm going to place this where I want it to be. And you know, I love this grid paper because I can line this up and make sure that my square is exactly where I want it. And I'm going to count little squares over, and then I know I need to shift it just a tiny bit. This grid paper is available not just for demonstrators, it's available for customers too, and I really think it's a great thing to have on your desk. Okay. Now, how you're going to do this and not have it cut all the way up is how you place your cutting plates. Normally you'd want your plate to come all the way to the end, and you would have it, they're static together, all the way at the end like this. But we don't want to do that. We want it to be up a little bit so that the part that cuts is only the part that is hanging over. See the cutting plate? You can kind of see it underneath. That's where it's going to cut, and only there. I'm going to make sure that I cut enough for this. Yep. And then you go ahead and put this plate over the top. And when you run it through, because there's nothing underneath here, it's not going to cut. I'll show you in just a moment. Okay, so I cranked it through the big shot. And see how it only cut right here. Now I want to fold here. So I'm going to bring out my Stampin' trimmer, and I'm going to use the scoring blade. So you go ahead and put this into your trimmer and line up the edge of the cut area with the track. And you can kind of see it better when you bring this down if it's right. Okay. And then your scoring blade, if you have a Stampin' Up trimmer, but I think almost all brands will have a point on it, and you line up that point with your cut marks and then slide it until the point gets to the second cut mark. And now you have a nice little score line for opening and folding your little flap. Now I also wanted to cut a little notch. I want to make sure that people know to open the flap. So I used a little punch, and I just cut the tiniest little notch right out of there. That's kind of for the finger to open that flap. Now you're just assembling. So this beginning of the joke goes on the top, and then the inside, I can line this up. I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive on the sides and then line it up where I want it to be. So let's see, I want to move it over just a little bit. What do you think? Right there. And then press that in place. There we go. And now we're going to add it to the card base. Now I wanted to pop it up just a little bit, so I'm going to use dimensionals. And some baker's twine. Alright, I'll trim that in a minute. So, on these little pizzas, I wanted to show you how I colored them. I hope you like how I colored them. I used a little technique with the blender pens because I wanted to get it to be kind of a soft pizza look. I didn't want the harsh, straight-on marker. So I'll do one pizza, and then I'll do the rest really fast so you don't have to watch them all. I started with crumb cake. Squeeze the pad to get some ink in your lid. And this is a blender pen. It's kind of a non-color. It has some kind of glycerin or some kind of product in there. And I just dabble it into my ink pad and then dabble a little bit of crumb cake on the crust just to give it a little bit of brown. And I also did the mushrooms with that. To get the ink color off, you just kind of scribble until you don't see any ink, and then you move straight on to your next color. You don't have to use a new blender pen for every color. Next I used crushed curry, and I dabbled a little bit of it in with the crumb cake to kind of give that crust color. I didn't want straight on curry and I didn't want straight on crumb cake. There we go. Now I did the same kind of thing with the cheese. I kind of dabbled this around, just kind of touching every so often the paper so it's just not heavy. And then I went over it just a little bit with the pumpkin pie, just to kind of have a little bit of different tone in with my cheese. Because you know how cheese is, it's kind of not really a solid color on your pizza. There we go. Brought in some cherry cobbler for the pepperonis. And garden green for the little peppers. If you live in the Chicago area, normal Chicago style pizza has green pepper, mushroom, onion, maybe sausage or pepperoni, sometimes both. So this is a very Chicago looking pizza. There we go. So there's my little pizza. Cut out some and colored some earlier. Because it's a triangle shape, it is so easy to cut out, so fussy cutting is not a big deal on this one, which is nice. There. I'm going to do these on fast forward, and we'll be done in no time. Okay, I don't know if you noticed, but I used a little glue dot behind my bow. The little bow just wanted to slip and slide. So I'm using these little teeny tiny dimensionals to pop up my pizzas. I'm just going to randomly put some around, kind of one up high, one down low. There we go. And then on the inside, I cut a piece of Very Vanilla. And like I said, I'm going to just use my marker. What I do with that birthday stamp. There it is. And just stamp up Happy Birthday. Glue dot a little pizza there. I have one leftover pizza, so rather than color in this inside one, I'm just going to pop this right on top. There we go. I would tell you a joke about pizza, but it's a little cheesy. Happy birthday. Really fun. I hope you liked the card. I'll have some close-ups on my blog, bethspapercuts.com. Please leave me a comment, subscribe, or join me at my Facebook page, also Beth's Paper Cuts. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.